Let me get you. What's up?
Too lazy. In the cut.
Let's go. Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody doing? Welcome to the Live in the Cut show. I'm super excited tonight. We have a very special guest. She is here. She is live, setting up. And before we start, I hope everyone's been doing well. If you hear if it sounds like I'm like holding my breath underwater, it's because I don't know, it's allergies, a little something, but I did take a COVID test.
Yes, he
negative.
did.
Took 2 of them. So we're good to go. But today, tonight's episode, we're gonna be diving into content creation and mastering social media content with Rivy. And for those who don't know who Rivy is, she is one of the co-founders of the Boiis Co. And if you guys don't know about the Boiis Co, they were featured in hold on, I have this written down. That was actually pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh!
They were featured in Eater New York on Instagram, NBC New York as well, and Time Out New York as well. So they're doing something right as far as marketing. She's also the co-founder of LilDayDream with our good friend AJ of Dream Big, who was here a few episodes ago as well. Shout out to LilDayDream. And she's helped multiple brands create content and build influences through social media. And this episode, if you are looking how to master creating content for your business, you're in the right place. So welcome, Rivy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome. Let people know who you are, what you do, and maybe before the content creation, but a little bit about the Boiis Co. Set it up.
So my name is Rivy Major Kito Ponda, and
sorry, camera's here.
Oh, hi. I'm just looking everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm a pure Filipina who grew up in Hong Kong and moved here in 2015. And I've had the love to do photography since high school. I'm always like the photography person, the annoying one that would always take photos here and there. And it pretty much launched into doing content, or like where I started getting interested in doing business was when I moved here in New York in 2015. Like it officially kicked in 2017, where I started doing food photography, product photography for other small businesses and like mom and pop shops in Queens. And then in 2019, I became friends with Troy and Kurt, who are my co-founders at the Boiis Co.
Shout out to Troy and Kurt.
Troy and Kurt, woo.
Troy's my guy. I knew Troy for a long time.
Yeah.
We've had some history on the basketball court.
Good or bad?
Good. No, good.
Okay,
Good.
it sounded not great.
No, good. But so you've been doing so you were already interested in some photography. You were doing food photo what do you call it? Food photos, food shots. What was it called?
Food photography.
Food photography.
Yes.
And then yeah, it's funny. I actually didn't know you were. So you were how old were you when you moved here?
I moved here in 2015. I was 21.
21.
21.
But you grew up in.
I grew up in Hong Kong all my life. So basically, when people ask like where I'm from, it's never like a one answer thing. It's always like I was born in Cali, moved to Hong Kong when I was 2, then grew up there all my life, moved here in 2015, and yeah, I'm here.
Wow.
But I'm pure Filipina. But yes, I did grow up learning Cantonese.
Shout out to the Filipinos. And you know Cantonese, that's awesome.
Learned Cantonese, yes, grew up learning it.
So we got some people here live on YouTube. Hello, what's going on? YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Hope you guys are doing well.
Hello.
This is an interactive stream. So if you guys are on here, you have any questions, you want to say hello, definitely write it in chat. Justin, what's going on? Ryan, I see you guys.
Hey guys.
We'll be able to see it on the chat and get to your questions if you have any. So so before you got into the content creating, right? Because you had to, when you came here, I'm sure it was like, I don't know if it was a culture shock, but it was the first thing that you went to. It's like, creating, the Boiis after you met Troy and Kurt. Or...
So my background before getting into content creation, like at the time, like when I started being interested in photography and everything like that wasn't paying the bills. Like that was just like not an option to venture into full time. So I did have like a full-time job, which was waitressing and being a hostess, like, and just, working in the restaurant field. So I've been in the restaurant field for over 9 years from Hong Kong and here. And my last restaurant job was a Japanese restaurant in 2018.
And then you guys started Boiis Co.
In 2019, yes.
Got you. Awesome, man. Let's go. Poon, what's going on? Shout out to our brother Poon.
Hello.
So all right, cool. So now, so you're the creative director for the Boiis Co, LilDayDream, and you help a lot of other companies, businesses as well.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your title, your position as a creative director. What were you doing for the Boiis Co? If I'm not wrong, that eventually, what were you doing for the Boiis Co? And then we'll talk about how you transitioned into LilDayDream and just creating content, being a monster at it too.
Yeah. So with the Boiis Co. So the Boiis Co actually started with Kurt and Troy. They had an idea, a plan, hence the name The Boiis. It was supposed to be the two of them. But when we met, they had this idea for almost a year now, but didn't really like jumpstart at it. And at the time, I was already venturing into, like connecting people. Like that at the time, I met Poon. So, getting energy from Poon was like connecting people. Do you know this person? Do you know that person? Oh, you guys should collab. You guys should connect. You guys should meet up. And so with that being said, meeting them and having that energy from Poon, I was like, hey, why don't you guys actually make it official? Why don't you guys make it like a friends and family event to kind of like signify and stamp on the date, like the Boiis Co is here. The Boiis Co is launched. So during that process of planning and organizing for that friends and family, we loved working together. And then at the end of it was kind of like, do you want to be a co-founder with us? Like,
Nice.
it's like, sure. So in a sense, we officially started it like when the Boiis Co was actually born, like into the world, was all three of us.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So just brief, I want to shed some light on the Boiis Co. What do you guys do? What do you guys offer?
Yes, we're a mochi-based dessert pop-up shop. We've been at it since 2019, and we have about 3 products. Our best sellers are the mochi-filled cookies, and now we've probably made over 50 flavors in total.
Gee, don't sleep on them. Make sure you find them on Instagram. So, again, before you decided to take, LilDayDream on and other businesses, what was your day-to-day like for the Boiis Co? What was your daily, like, I guess, what you had to do, because I'm sure there's someone who cooks and who preps the food and stuff like that. Like, what were you doing?
So to understand the product, because I have restaurant experience in my background, I was into desserts. I've done my fair share of baking, not officially at a restaurant, but like it's how to say, when you work in a restaurant, a lot of times that you are trained in different positions so that you understand everybody's department, so that the restaurant can flow smoothly. So I've done a bit of training or trailing in the dessert department.
Gotcha.
And the pastry department. So I've done a bit of baking. When I was a kid, when my dad is craving for some, something sweet, I would make chocolate chip cookies actually from scratch. But yeah, baking has always been something that I was interested in. And when the Boiis came up with the first product, which is tofu mochi bites, it's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts munchkins, but on the healthier side.
Nice.
And then you have it with ice cream and with homemade drizzle. Yeah. That was our first ever product that we had from 2019 until COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, that's when mochi filled cookies was born, because we wanted to stick to the mochi concept. But to backtrack, I've done a lot of baking in the past, and when the Boiis when on our day-to-day basis is I would need to learn the products. I would also need to bake.
Right. Okay.
And when doing that, you get content.
Gotcha.
So that I know step by step, like, okay, this goes into this, or like, oh, this is like the foodgasm area. So it's just like, I know I would need to take photos of this or video of this as content. But every little thing is content. And the fact that, I'm sure our OG Mochi fam would know too that all 3 of us has baked together. This year we started having more hands, and hiring people, but
awesome.
In the first 2 years, it was literally just us baking, ball forming, and making everything.
So, you mentioned something that everything is content.
Yeah.
At that time, you were you the only one doing the content, or was other people like helping out? Or?
I would try to delegate to the boys to film and to get content, but
that's the nice way of putting it.
But sometimes it just doesn't click with my vision. And since we're like, at the time they were baking it from Kurt's parents' home in Elmhurst, and I was living in Northern Boulevard, so I would just like go over, and then when we do our weekly meetings, we would try and test new flavors of the products, and then from there it's just like content. So it's like, since I'm there anyways, I'll just take it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I try to delegate as much as I can.
No, listen, I know what you mean, and especially when your vision isn't translating when you're delegating it, right?
Yeah.
So, talk about what at that time, what were you using to create content? Or was it like, I got a camera that's like a couple $1,000 at the moment, but were you using your phone? Did you have a camera? Did you have equipment?
I do have camera. I do have equipment. Because I have been doing food photography before having the Boiis. Right. So I did have a Canon with me. And the Canon that I have or had at the time is when I was using it since I was 15. So it was like my parents' birthday gift, and I was just utilizing it the whole time. And at the time, Reels wasn't a thing yet. Right. So it was all photos. Yeah.
Okay, cool. gonna talk about the real estate. I'm learning so much about YouTube Shorts now, right? I was chatting with
This
someone
is
about
true.
YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. Because there's the social media algorithms change like so crazy.
Yeah.
Daily, literally daily, and it takes a lot to try to figure out what these social media companies are looking to push out. But so from the Boiis Co, filming content, for your brand, you then eventually met or teamed up with AJ.
Yes.
And you guys got us a LilDayDream.
We did LilDayDream.
So talk about LilDayDream. What's that? How'd you guys come up with that?
So LilDayDream was first thought about, like our first ever meeting was in December last year. And it was something that, AJ, he's a really good content creator, and we kind of like admire each other's skills, and we're like, yo, how can we make this or team up to make something better? And we're like, okay, so what would be our objective? What would be our motive? Like, how could we be different from others?
Right.
And because we've been doing all the markets together, we saw that there was a need or a niche for having being like a social media help or a creative help to small businesses specifically. Because, AJ and I are also small businesses, and I know the struggle of like, not everybody has a creative person in their company or in their business. So it sucks when you have a really great product, but you're not doing as well in social, it's missing out. So the idea we had was kind of helping them build their social media presence and then teach them, and then they carry on.
Oh, okay.
And so it is specifically for small businesses.
Okay, so I do want to touch on that, right? So specifically small business. Let's say I'm a small business. What would I be getting if I went to you guys and said, "Hey, I need help with my small business"? Or is that something that you just do off of? Is it like a system that you put people through, or is it like you just kind of see, hey, you should do this or you should do that?
Well, I feel like every small business know what they feel like their business lack in. So first off would be like a consultation real quick, like looking into your Instagram, the analytics, and then possibly website, if website is something that you want. But
creating a website?
That's like maybe like more of like a consultation.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's not really spoken much about, somebody giving like, oh, hey, maybe like if like my suggestion, maybe like the website is blah, 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 blah. Nobody really says that.
Right.
Nobody really like try to give another person a heads up in a nice way.
Right.
Or in a creative way, so to speak. So yeah, we haven't really touched on website yet, but we've done a lot of reels. Like AJ has done a lot of reels.
Gotcha.
I do more of like the product photography, but AJ really nailed on our style of how we make reels with like the drone shot and how busy it looks. That I'm more of like the product photography type.
Gotcha. So you behind the scenes taking the shots for everybody.
Yeah.
But you mentioned you'll take a look at someone's social media, and so I mean, you look at my social media. Since we're here, right? Like if I showed you my social media, right? Like what would you say? This is the shops page. What are some of the things that you look at? Again, just general stuff.
That some of these some of the cover photos are very, how to say it could be better. The cover photos.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like cover photos, for example, like this shot over here I see is a reel, right? Like maybe with this whole empty space, you could have put a caption like what you're doing in here. Because a lot of people now, and it's also because of TikTok, I'm not sure if you noticed on TikTok, like they push you to put captions on the cover what the video is about before somebody clicks on it.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's like mixing with fonts or the image of the cover or image of your post has to be really in capturing for that person to click on it, because everybody's time span is so short nowadays.
Gotcha.
It's so quick.
So when you get someone's Instagram, you look at them and you say, all right, you're looking at the cover photos.
Yeah.
And if the cover photos are like not as attractive because of, you know, there's like empty space around, you know, or something like that, you would recommend them like, hey, you should fill that in with something, or probably choose a different cover, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, okay.
Like these, like when you're doing this kind of live session, maybe do something, maybe have like a specific font or a banner that says like, that has something to do with the live.
Gotcha.
So to show the difference with the live works that you do versus the barber works that you do.
Gotcha.
And then maybe some of your reels are educational too for other, you know, startup barbers. But I wouldn't know from looking at the feed which one's educational and which one is your work.
So here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I have Live in the Cut barbershop,
Yes.
Live in the Cut Instagram. There's people that also have multiple businesses going on or multiple brands that they're. I mean, I'm not looking at multiple brands. Honestly, this is all part of one brand, which is Live in the Cut. But would you recommend someone who's in my position, or even my particular Instagram, or again, someone in my position where they have, you know, kind of two or three things that they're companies that they kind of combine? Would you make a separate Instagram?
Personally, I would.
I knew that was coming sometime. I knew that was coming.
Personally, I would. But if you get to like organize it in a sense that makes sense for the viewers, that's easy on the eyes, then do you. Right? Because it makes no sense having like multiple accounts that you can't maintain. Then that's also no good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That is
so
true.
If that works best for you, great. But get it a little more organized.
Or we get together with LilDayDream. So okay, cool. So we, you know, you didn't have to tell me twice. Okay, cool. So, you know, okay. So now, you know, you're consulting. You mentioned you're looking at their page, looking, you know, at their website. Mm-hmm. What else? Like, you know, are you looking at on someone's social media, like where you could import their ideas? Again, it doesn't have to be like particularly mine, but is there something that you would look at? What are you looking at that could, again, make someone's brand better?
Real photos, real and like saturated, and just something that's really like, I'm more of food because I'm a food photographer, and then I have like clients that are more food based, so I know what, like, in a sense, influencers are looking for, or like what's like an eye candy kind of post. Gotcha. that would
what's an eye candy type of post?
It's like a product. It depends, because now, like, before, like if you were asked me this 2 years ago, it would be like a really great product shot with the like product in your hand, and then probably up in the sky, and then the camera's right here, and then you hold it up like that. Right. Probably that would be like the best eye candy shot, which till this day is kind of like classic, but now it's like a real version of that. It's either that or like a day in your life, and then highlight that product was the highlight of your day kind of situation.
But in a real form, is what you're saying.
In a real form, in the TikTok video form.
Gotcha.
Yeah. A lot now is videos.
So there was another one. Let me see. So right now, as a business, what platforms are you focused on, or are you doing all of them?
I'm more focused on Instagram, but I also am actively learning with TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is big.
Yes.
TikTok, I'm learning something I picked up on TikTok, learning about when I'm on there, like really consuming content, learning is like, I like going on the filtering it from the last 3 months and the most liked, and then I put the topic that I'm like trying to research or trying to, and that's really been doing me justice, because obviously then you get the most liked content that's recent. Mm-hmm. So I've done a lot of, like, I don't post much on TikTok, but I spend most of my time doing that.
Yeah.
Instagram though, I feel Instagram is obviously I believe Instagram is not going to be here for much. I don't know how much more longer they could try to copy other social media platforms, but which is why I push YouTube and shorts and things like that. Are you also like big on YouTube or shorts?
I was before shorts. I actually learned about it or heard about it almost 2 months ago. But I do see it becoming like an up and coming thing because YouTube was huge.
YouTube, well, here's the thing. This is why I'm big on it now, and I'm probably gonna push it. Not probably. This is why I've been doing this every week. Is really because a lot of people don't know YouTube is owned by who? Google.
Google, yeah.
So, my job as a brand is to make myself more discoverable to the world. And where's the most place you get discovered? Well, Google. So, if I can make a YouTube video or make a podcast or make a YouTube short and it's gonna show up on YouTube, well that is gonna search up if anyone searches anything, how to create content or the Boiis Co or Dream Big, and I put it on YouTube, now people are gonna find it on Google. I mean, if people find it on Google, like they Google it, they're gonna find it on YouTube. Right. So I get more. People are gonna find me. I have places where people can find me faster. So with there was a question actually, and before I get to it, right? We've been here for a little over half an hour, a little under half an hour. If you guys are on here, this is if you actually there's a few people that are still on here live. Say hello. If you haven't said hello yet, this is your time to pay your taxes. Say hello. Drop a share, drop a like, and if you have questions, we get to some questions at the end. But monetizing, right? Monetizing is something that a lot of people are curious about, right? And I don't know if what your knowledge is, or if you've got paid off of or if you know anyone that's gotten paid off of Reels and or TikTok or YouTube. But do you know anything about how to monetize on social media?
Hand, no, but I do have a few influencer friends who started getting monetized.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know. Obviously, for YouTube, you gotta have. I forgot the number, but it was you gotta have 1,000 followers and 400 hours of people 400 hours watched of content. Reels, I'm still figuring out. Maybe AJ, you know something about how to get paid off of Reels?
You just pick people for real.
They just pick people.
They do, right?
Invites.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's something that you have to do.
Poon got selected, actually.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Shout out to Poon.
Yeah.
You gotta ask Poon then. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, because right now people are at least when I was looking, I was like, wait, there's someone that's posting a reel and that they get paid for it, man. What did y'all do to get paid off of that?
TikTok too.
TikTok,
is
right?
Paying a lot too.
So do you think is it more so this is you were talking about analytics earlier.
Yeah.
What analytics do you guys pay attention to? Because I'm learning about analytics, so I'm looking at my stats. Now it's just a matter of, all right, you find out your stats, well, whatever the stats you're looking at, and what do you do with these stats now?
Right. So to kind of put it in plain conversation is looking at analytics kind of give me an idea what our current followers like seeing and what our non-current followers like seeing. And it's different and it varies from different posts, and it also gives me an idea if our audience, if our let's say the Boiis Co post, does that mostly attract female more than male or male more than female? It's been both actually. So there are a lot of foodies out here.
Foodies, for sure.
But and it also gives us the age range, so to know what type of our products attracts what age group more. And first off the bat, when you think of our cookies, you would think on the younger scale, but actually the older generation is also looking at our stuff. So our age range is actually from 18 to 48.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the range that
food is for every age
of our customers that's been looking at our stuff.
Okay, so And that would make like what kind like so now you know that analytic, right? Let's just say age.
Mm-hmm.
How does that translate into how you do things, how you continue to do things, or how you do things differently?
So this is gonna sound so weird, but I truly mean no harm about it. So it would me knowing that there is like an older generation that loves our stuff and that would like to know more about our stuff. So I've been active on newsletter for it because a lot of them are on emails. I'm sure the younger generation is too, but this is also more beneficial to the older generation because they don't really have all the time to look at Instagram like the younger ones do, look at stories or know to click the link on the story that goes to those call to action to orders. But for a newsletter they would just click.
Wow.
And then same goes for Facebook, so it also makes me more active on Facebook. And another tactic that I did too was to be more active on like community Facebook groups because that's also where a lot of older generation is that too.
Yeah. So one of my barbers, Jello, if if you guys see him, he actually joined the Facebook group. I forgot. I think he joined like a Filipino, like one of the Filipino Facebook groups, and like that's how he got involved and like made friends here. And when he first came here.
Oh, that's nice.
And he got connected with like real good people, and I'm realizing like Facebook. A lot of people don't like, especially when you're talking to the younger generations, are like Facebook. Like Facebook, my grandma's on Facebook.
Exactly.
Like, what people don't know, Facebook is a giant for advertising. Gaming,
It is.
if you game, Facebook is huge for gaming.
Yeah.
It's not only Twitch, but so you join these. So talk about the what's the strategy behind joining a group like a Facebook group?
It is first off, it's exposure, and also to because I know that there would be a lot more older generations in those kind of groups.
Gotcha.
Especially the active ones, like not just a group to have a group, but like an active one. Like for example, Pinoys of New York is actually a really good group. They're very community based, and they do like, let's say if somebody is looking, it's like, oh, I need a babysitter. Is anybody available? That's that is that is able to, and then there are a lot of people that would chime in.
I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So we gotta jump on.
So find an active community-based Facebook group.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Love that. So this is something that I was curious about. Is like apps, right? There's apps that you use to edit and stuff like that. In the beginning, I was using what was I using? I was using like for photos. I was using Snapseed. I still sometimes I don't, again, because Instagram doesn't care about photos. I really don't care about editing photos no more. But I was big on Snapseed. But like, what are some apps that you use to edit or if you use your computer,
Yeah, for photos is Lightroom.
Yeah.
And then Photoshop if you need an extra something that Lightroom can't handle. And then for video would be CapCut.
CapCut is a cheat code, man.
Yeah, and what's cool about it too is that I think it is from TikTok. Like that app is related to TikTok.
Wow, I can see that.
So like for example, and it's also like beneficial for Reels now too. But like for example, you're editing, you can even edit a cover, which would be beneficial for you.
On CapCut? I've been sleeping on it then. So
now you can choose which cover you want, and then when you choose the cover, you can even add a caption.
Wait. You gotta see it.
And then when you download it, when you're about to upload, they already register what would be the cover. You just have to adjust it.
Wow. Okay, so this is something that I actually searched the other day, kind of just like I was home and I'm like, I'm creating all this content, and I'm at one point in my mind I was like, this was already late at night. I'm like, do I post this now? Is there a better time to post this? Or is it related to obviously people who's following me? Do you care about that at all when you post timing of the day?
I did before, But what I noticed with Instagram and with TikTok is that when you post, you can't really expect it to have it blow up unless you have like a lot of followers, which is also like, contradicting, because I have seen influencers that has like really high following, but when they post and in the first 30 minutes, it's like still low. But I think that was an algorithm issue in the past with Instagram and TikTok. So what happens is that they like to push old content again. Like for Instagram, even if just like 5 people like a super old post, that's gonna be pushed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yo, Art, that the clip that we put up till this day is getting hits.
I know.
I'm looking at it. I'm like thinking it's something recent, and they're like still liking the one that we did a month ago. And man, it's such a
You got 12K views. So.
yeah, it's over 13 right now. It's crazy. So, and I'm like studying it, like what did we do there that that like it's getting that. But what I'm realizing is having the system of your content, like having the same color tones, the same something that like you mentioned earlier, something that you can manage. That's not like every post looks completely different, because it's hard to keep up with that type of stuff, especially if you're doing it on your own. Actually, Ryan. So Ryan says we do have a question. I guess we get to it right now. So Ryan says, as a beginner stage content creator, what are ways to build an audience? Is it something where I post past and let the algorithm do its thing, or are there some tricks to it?
I think. Can I see the question again?
Yeah. So as a beginner, as a beginner content creator, what are some ways to build an audience?
I think just gotta get it started. Get your groove going, and yeah, I guess in a sense is to post, but also like get some quality in what you post, because I feel like social media is for people who are social. So when you really put the passion, you put your work into what you post, people in the audience would feel it. Like that's also like another like creative direction, right, for the brand. So for example, the Boiis Co, we're very personality based. We show our faces. We're like, what is up, Mochi fam? And we're very real. I guess that's also a lot of things that people are looking for nowadays is, who's being real and who's like, you get what I'm saying? Like real versus being real versus someone who is just wanting to show the great side of things.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's true as well. Like, especially when you got some, this was big. I don't see it as much now, but like when people add me and all they have is captions and no face, that's an easy unfollow, buddy. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
You might be trying to motivate me, but I'd rather be motivated by seeing you do whatever you're posting, or things like that. So I like I'm definitely agreeing with the being a personality, being a face.
Yeah.
So that's great. So because a lot of people are trying to build an audience, and it's like how could I build an audience and there's like no face to my brand? It's for me it's kind of weird. It's kind of like but then again, this is the world we're in. Like this, you could build. I guess you can you build a brand without showing your face?
You can. I believe
you can have a character, right?
You can have a character,
right. But that's still somebody. That's still like a focal
face.
point. Yeah, it's still a focal point. It's not like you're just putting up just captions and stuff like that.
Like in my experience with clients, I feel that having a face to the brand definitely will, because there's a personality. It's like I feel it's like I'm talking to somebody, right? Whether if it's not the face, then probably voice. Some personal touch into your work, I think, makes a huge difference.
That's a good point. The voice, because you might not be the most confident person in front of the camera. you might just be a little bit on the shy side, but
Yeah.
you could work on it.
You can do a great voiceover. But to answer your question is, I would just get started on it, like not think too much about how you feel like your first 3 posts are gonna be. I think you just gotta keep going and then show, like, it's your time to show off in a sense that you're doing something, so people around you know that you are doing something. And the consistency that you post, maybe 2 months from now they're gonna be like, oh wait, this person who is like a friend of a friend, or like, oh, I know this person does these kind of videos, let's hit him up.
Collabs.
You wanna, I guess that's the whole point of marketing, is you kind of gotta be annoying about what you do, because that's gonna be in people's head, like it's gonna be in the back of their head, and they're gonna call you one day and be like, oh hey,
Funny you mention that.
right?
What is the borderline of like, man, this is annoying right now? This person posting, right?
Well,
If you're not educating, then you're annoying.
If you're not educated, you're
want more of
annoying.
that.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I mean, because there was something I saw this somewhere the other day. They were like, "Yo, man, if you have 10 posts on your stories or your Instagram, and it's like you just talking and you haven't given no value, it's like, man, what are you doing on there? It's like you just posted back to back. I know. So, but again, maybe it's because we look at Instagram a little bit as more of a tool than what Instagram originally was.
That's true.
You've
Yeah.
grown as users.
Yeah, I was heavy on Instagram being like a personal journal, for like a visual journal for me in the beginning, which is if you scroll back to my Instagram, there's like food posts, like
Yeah.
everybody
Like you wouldn't even think. It's kind of like something that lives in your photo library right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But now you gotta like think, like, what's the caption, what's the to fine tune it.
Hashtags.
And then hashtags.
Are hashtags relevant anymore? Or
I see hashtags as SEO, like you use for a website, is keywords. So what I often do is probably like 2 to 3 hashtags is something that's relevant to your brand, like Jive, Live in the Cut, so that if somebody were to Google it, those is gonna be pushed up. But if you want your stuff to be found in a certain mix, be like NYC podcast, Queens podcast, or like Filipino podcast.
Gotcha.
Something in those lines that's still relevant to the post or to the videos that you're doing.
Gotcha.
It's keywords.
Because I remember, I'm doing this now, and I'm kind of like, this is like, I guess it's for barbers as well. We've always just like kind of thought that hashtags were the key. And now I remember, like, underneath your caption, you would have like another paragraph with hashtags. I'm like, is this working? But to your point, I've definitely used it more of a, keep it short, like maybe 2 or 3 hashtags, and I'll just keep it in the caption. So I like that. So boom, cool. So hopefully that answered the question, but definitely a lot of changes with algorithms. You can say hello. I know you got your live going. You can say hello if anybody had any questions. See if
I don't think anybody has questions.
That's cool. So we could go. I have a few more personally that I'm actually just curious about. So you have your other brands that you partner with and help them building their brands. How did you get into that position that they were going to you for help?
So this kind of falls back to what I said earlier, that you keep doing what you're doing, you post what you post, and then somebody who's like, oh wait, I kind of need help in this. I'm like, oh, I know who.
That's exactly what I said. I was looking at the Boiis Co, and I was looking at the Boiis Co Instagram, and I said, I wish I had somebody that was on my team doing the social media like this, So, but yeah, go ahead.
So it's actually with Saki & Co, and the owner of that is Mo, and he is also a co-founder of Best Damn Cookies. That's in Market Line. So this was about a month and a half ago that they reached out, and said like, hey, are you taking in any more new projects as a creative director? I'm like, what did you have in mind? And then I have Best Damn Cookies. I'm a creative director for them and a creative director for a new up and coming restaurant slash diner slash deli that's also going to be
Let's
in
go.
Market Line.
I love
So it's really cool. Like it's like a full circle moment for me because like working in the restaurant world for 8 years and I'm able to apply this and help open a restaurant.
Wow.
It's really like it gives me butterflies.
So, as a creative director, with these programs like with these businesses, what's something that what do you start with? Like, so now you're working with these companies,
Yeah.
these businesses. What are some things that you're doing with them?
So it really depends where it was left off from the previous creative director, right? But basically, creative director is like you direct creatively. So I'm kind of like how I see it is kind of like if this is a whole new brand new company, like it has to go through brand guidelines, like what's their color scheme, what's their fonts that they want to use, what's their logo looking like, do I agree with the logo, does this make sense with the brand and what they want to do and what they strive for, maybe not, maybe yes, and then you it's helping them build their own personality, because a business, a brand is a personality, and you're trying to iron that out. And obviously in the first 6 months, I always give that like time period, 6 months to a year is when you're trying to find what your brand is going to be about. So I give that little leeway, and it may pivot, it may continue what you initially wanted to do, but definitely give it like 6 months to a year. But if it's a brand that already has all those assets, then it's something for me to like either maintain or to improve. And as a creative director, it's kind of like, I like to put it as like, how do I Disneyfy this?
Disneyfy.
So for example, at the Boiis Co, at our booth, we try to be different. We try to make it as an experience. We try to make it fun as a consumer, as a customer. So I try to have that kind of mindset for all the other clients as well.
I love that.
How to Disneyfy it.
That's a key. That's a gem right there.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about when I'm in Disney and they have all these like little interactive stuff in there when you go to Disney and you like the Harry Potter land and they got all the stuff like that. Wow, that's actually all right. So let me see what's going on. Oh, I got my guy Sean on here. Shout out to S-Mall. Sean says, how do you get into the creative mindset? Do you have specific ways to get creative juices flowing? Are you always this creative? Is this just who you are?
No, actually. That's something that I'm dealing with right now, but it's really about taking care of your mental health because it can be exhausting, getting a lot of clients. You can burn yourself out very easily when it's starting from the inside, and then it'll slowly go to your physical and emotional health. So what I would do if I need to get into the groove is probably have a really good dessert. And
From the Boiis Co.
From the Boiis Co.
Right.
Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube. Those three free sources helps me get into the groove. Like you can ask AJ every time I have a mood board of something. It's always it's important to have a mood board to get your vision straight down to the focus of everything, anything you want to do, building a brand or a specific photo shoot you want to do for the day. Mood board is the way to go. But definitely Pinterest, definitely TikTok. There's so many crazy, inspiring creatives on TikTok. And then YouTube as well. YouTube I use to, I do this thing where I use the YouTube video to help me time block. So there's this, I don't know if you've done this before.
Like
I feel like I'm exposing myself. So to get me into the groove, I have a very short attention span. So what I do is that there's this videos, like I wouldn't call it self-help videos, but there's these like, oh, study with me videos where it's like 2 to 3 hours, because YouTube videos can go like really long now, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably like a 2 to 3 hour videos, and then you start off, and probably in that 2 to 3 hours there is a 30-minute timer.
Mm.
So it'll play a background music or whatever, like white noise you want, and then you work. And then after 30 minutes pass, it's going to like do a little alarm or a little ring, and it tells you to stop.
You gotta send me this.
And
I
then
gotta see
and
this.
then the video would tell you like, okay, take a 6-minute break, drink water, or get a snack or whatever. And this is like, you cannot look at any. What I do is I don't look at any computers, don't look at any screens. Like, it's like a break time for my eyes for 6 minutes, and then ring again, and then you go back. I feel like I'm exposing myself, but this was proven to increase your productivity, because you are given a certain time to do certain things that sometimes even after 30-minute pass, you're like, no, wait, I'm in the zone. But no, to save your mental
So
energy.
it's 30 minutes?
Well, there's some 30 minutes, some 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You can do, or you can do it, you do a DIY one too, like just play your own music and you put timer on your phone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I started learning about this more on YouTube.
Nice.
And so I just did.
That's funny.
I feel like I'm exposing myself.
Chris probably in the house like, oh, so that's what you're doing over there, huh?
Actually,
Videos.
because Kurt's always running around, always running around, making sure our team in the kitchen's okay, or need to go for a grocery run at Restaurant Depot, or we need to do delivery for wholesales or whatever. Like, we're always on the go. That's why our attention span is so short. Because we're always running, we're always on the go. We're in New York. We're just like, what's next?
Yeah,
But it's never like, hold on.
that's true.
So actually, for him to also do like the Boiis documents and paperworks, I have to have that play in the background to get him in the group, to get those paperworks going.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very useful.
Funny, actually, now I'm thinking about it. Have you guys heard of the Pomodoro?
I think that's what it is.
Oh, okay. So now this makes sense.
That sounds
Pomodoro.
familiar. That's what it is.
So Pomodoro technique is I forgot who I heard this from. It's one of my mentors, but it's basically in this case, that the way that I'm using it, it's actually, as a matter of fact, here, look, it's an app you can download, Pomodoro.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So you do it
Pomodoro.
too?
No, but this is not like a video or anything. It's a timer. It's basically a timer. So it's like 25 minutes of whatever you're focused on.
Yeah.
Maybe you gotta make phone calls.
Yeah.
Instead of you thinking like, man, how many phone calls do I gotta make?
Yeah.
It's just 25 minutes of just putting my head down. I'm gonna make these phone calls, or I'm gonna edit these videos, or I'm gonna practice, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then, cool, you gotta, specifically Pomodoro technique is gonna be 25 minutes and that 5-minute break, do whatever you want. Boom.
Yeah.
And then you get back onto the 25.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's
I didn't know that there was
What's
a
it
YouTube.
called?
This app's called the Pomodoro.
Yeah.
Pomodoro. But there's multiple that have them. But yeah, it's now it makes sense.
Yeah, there's. I will link it. There's multiple videos that has really cool background music, or like white noise.
Gotcha. Lo-fi.
But did we
Lo-fi.
answer his question?
Yeah. No, definitely. How do you get into creative mindset specifically?
So Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube.
Love that. All right, cool. Well, listen, we've almost hit the hour mark here. We're just towards the end of this. I want to get a few few more last questions in if anybody has any. I can't wait to rewatch this. There's so much that I've learned just off of the short amount of time. But somebody sent me a question earlier.
I got a question too on my first.
Okay, I'll let you go. I'll
Okay.
say this one.
So we got a question
Just read it.
from Pandayo. Hey guys, are you planning to train small businesses on how to manage their social media accounts to be more effective in reaching more audiences? Yes, and that is why LilDayDream exists. That's something that we want to teach and educate. It's more like an educational purpose, but also like we offer these services as like a helping tool for the small businesses. But definitely, it's more of an educational in the long run.
Nice. I mean, that's actually a good question, right? So like when you're educating people, again, it's like, the consulting aspect of how's your page looking like, how's your website looking like, how's your social media looking like, are the portraits on the grid, are they the right way, and things like that. So it's a lot of educating for sure. Whenever you guys do a class or something like that, however you guys are gonna do it, sign me up.
Yeah. Workshop.
There you go. So one of my friends asked, what is the best way to create content on a budget? To not have a professional videographer or a photographer. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, using your phone straight up. I feel like video editing nowadays, with the demand of creating videos, reels, has increased so much that people have to learn to do things on the fly. People have to learn how to make video on the fly. AJ learned how to make all these great videos in the past year. Like that wasn't something that he was, that he thought that he would be good at. But when he tried it, and that's all it is, you gotta try it, because you would, like, it's so cliche, but you really would never know if you can start a business. You really would never know if you could be a photographer or a videographer if you never tried. Like, you really just gotta give it not just give a half work try. Like, you have to really give it your try and know that, like, oh, I did my best. Do I think I can improve this? Do I think this is for me or not for me? Like, you just gotta try it. So with videos, especially now on TikTok and on Reels, everything is shot on the phone, and it's really it's really how you look at certain things that you want to translate in your editing for the other audience to see what you see.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have one of the newer phones, they honestly just as good as the camera I'm using. Do you use your phone? Like, this is the phone you use, or do you have like another phone?
This is the phone that I use.
I need to take a picture of this phone. I haven't seen this in person. I thought it was broken. So, if you guys see what I'm talking about, it's like
a razor.
It's like a razor. Yeah, I'm like, what is this?
I will
It's like it's a Samsung, right?
It's a Samsung
Oh man, you might lose some
Z
followers.
Flip.
Just kidding.
Did you say lose some
You might lose
followers?
some-
I'm dead.
So, hopefully that answers. So kind of just to recap, right? On this question, how to create content on a budget. Use your phone.
Use
we mentioned
anything you got that you think would help. Because, like I mentioned before, I did have a camera that I've been using for over 10 years. And it's, nobody would know that the shot that I took was a 10-year-old camera.
Wow.
Or that it's not an updated camera. It's really how you utilize these gadgets that you have.
Gotcha. And then the free apps that we spoke about. I think the only one that you mentioned that was like a paid one might be Photoshop.
Lightroom kind of has a deal right now, especially for students. So if you're a student that's interested.
Gotcha. But the other apps are free. CapCut.
Other apps are free.
Canva. Canva and CapCut. Honestly, undefeated.
For photo editing, actually, the internal phone photo editing is actually not that bad too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan says, creating content for the public. What are ways to be open-minded and accepting criticism from people?
Creating content for the public.
Right. So basically, from what I'm understanding, is like, if people, when you create content and you're gonna get some backlash, or maybe and I've started to see it as well. Luckily, majority of people show love, but there's people that are, everyone has, and so constructive criticism is always good. So what are the ways to be open-minded and accepting criticism from people?
I would say.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, definitely take it with a grain of salt. It could, think about it. before reacting. That's what I would like. If somebody were to comment something negatively or
Have you
not
gotten
so
that?
nice, I have so many, so many. But it's really how you answer them, and it's never, my rule of thumb is never answering right after that they comment. Like let it sit there for a moment, because maybe this person is jealous of what you're doing, that you're actually doing things. Or what if this person
big.
is closed-minded,
That's
right?
big.
And you gotta let it sit and marinate there. Probably this person was having a bad day, and the following day he realized he was a jerk, and he's gonna delete that comment, which has happened a few times on the Boiis in the past. But
Personal.
how to
It's personal.
how to be open-minded, I guess, is to always, when you create content, it's obviously for everybody to see, is definitely be considerate first and foremost. As long as you know that you're considerate about what you're posting, you're not, although it can be contradicting, right? It could touch a lot of things. A lot of people can say a lot of things, but as long as it aligns with what you believe in and your motives, and you believe that it's harmless, then go for it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely, it reminds me of getting a bad review on your business, because people could be really quick to respond. Oh man, I was waiting for a haircut for 30 minutes. They didn't see me, and it's like you had a 5-star rating, and now this guy came in, gave you 1 star, and like now your 5 stars gone. It's like, and now you want to, rebuttal this guy, but the best way is to, like you mentioned, kind of take a breather and say, hey, sometimes, matter of fact, this is going back to social media and commenting, I've noticed, is that you might not even have to say, you might not say anything. Your community will back you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They'll be like, they'll cancel that person quick.
Yeah.
Like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, and your community will back you up. So I love that. So last couple of things. Last question that I personally have, unless somebody has, you can check on your phone as well.
I answered Pandayo. Okay, cool.
So one of the last things I want to ask, and before I ask it, is one, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
You gave a lot of gems on creating social media, mastering it, the emotional aspect of it, the the business of it, and how your thought process goes when you're creating content. What would you say to the person that is starting their business, that doesn't have help, right? They don't have a LilDayDream, they don't have the most expensive camera, they don't have all that going on, they don't have they don't have creativity, they don't have the personality to be in front of a camera, but they're looking to promote their business. What are you saying to that person?
Just get it started. Get it started. And if it's a business that you're very passionate about, the inspiration will eventually hit you, and you're gonna have to be creative. Like it's gonna come eventually. Probably not in the first 10 posts when you start your Instagram account or your business account, and that's okay. Like it has to start somewhere. Like you have to start somewhere, so that when you, let's say 6 months from now, you continued what you're continuing because you believed in it so much, you're gonna look back and be like, oh yeah, I am actually a creative person. You wouldn't know where you really left off if you never really started on it. There's nothing to compare to.
Love that. Where can the people find you? Where can they connect with you? And connect and possibly get the services? Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, so personally, I'm at It's Little Rivy, and the Boiis Co is at the Boiis Co. We make mochi-based desserts goodies, and we also have the social creative agency called LilDayDream.nyc.
Awesome. So and you guys are accepting clients right now? Is that what's going on?
Always open.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, listen, if you guys are tuning in, we had our, next week's episode. I'm super excited about that one as well. If you guys are into, it's actually been a real big deal recently. especially during the pandemic, is cards, collectibles, right?
Mm.
Whether it's sports cards, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like it's a big deal right now. We have one of our good friends at Gamers Choice here in Queens. They have a huge, like these guys are a powerhouse for that specific niche of I don't even know what it's called, but like collectibles. Like they were showing me like Charizard, like a Pokemon Charizard card that was worth a couple $100, and I'm just like blown away.
Mhm.
So if you guys are into that, and I want to learn about that business model and things like that, definitely tune in next week. We'll be there. And personally, if you have a small business or a service or any business that you want to promote and have shine a light on, and want to teach the people, and if you want to be on the Live in the Cut show, feel free to hit up our website at INTHECUT.LIVE and inquire to be on the show. We'd love to have you. And pick your brain about what you got going on, or possibly just shine a light on your business, and we could talk about that. Feel free to hit me or DM me on social media. INTHECUT.LIVE again is the site, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. Again, Rivy, LilDayDream, my boy AJ in the building. Appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you guys.
Are you
guys gonna be there on Saturday? Saturday,
Yes.
Perfect. Saturday, we'll see you guys at the Jeepney event. I think it's from 3 to 10 at Astoria Radio Park. Are you guys gonna be?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. This is what I want. So we're gonna see these guys. If you guys want to see the Boiis Co.
podcast in the Jeepney, bro.
Yeah. Oh, bruh, I will. Set me up. I'm gonna talk to Joey. And if you guys want to see the Boiis Co, LilDayDream, you can have a nice meet and greet, try some mochis. Catch us at the Jeepney event this weekend in Astoria, and we'll see you guys there. Peace.
Thank
Let's
you,
go.
guys.